manager here at icstars Milwaukee. And in this role, I get to walk alongside our interns through a 4-month experience that challenges them, strengthens them, and asks them to grow in ways they didn't always expect. Yes, we build business, leadership, and technology skills, but what really happens here is people start to see themselves differently. And tonight is one of those moments where you can feel that shift. This is Dream Speech Night. At icstars, we ask interns to imagine themselves 25 years into the future, to step into a moment of accomplishment and speak from that place as if it's already happened. And what I love about this group is they don't do anything halfway. Cycle a real side jokes, there's accountability, and there's a lot of care for each other. So tonight, you're going to hear dreams, yes, but you're also going to hear pieces of who they are right now and how far they've already. This is being perfect, being real, and witness. Let's get it. So we are starting with someone who shows up with intention and heart. Randy brings a steady energy and has a way of staying grounded no matter what's happening around him. Please welcome Randy.
Thank you all. It's a pleasure receiving the Diamond pressure and persistence transformed into a leader who now provides clarity and strength. I'm my finish line. Beyond the technical work is my career on being a resource for those who were left out or overlooked. I dedicated myself to ensuring the next generation of dreamers has the support and the tools that I had to fight so hard to find for myself. I wanted to make sure that no one has to navigate the complex world of technology without guidance or a fair chance to succeed. The obstacle I had to overcome was deeply personal. As the oldest son of Mexican immigrants who came to this country seeking for their future, I began to try to explain. They don't speak English, so from a young age, I was the one translating documents and guiding our family through our new culture. I carried a heavy sense of responsibility to make sure their sacrifices were worth it. I wanted to pay them back for every hour of hard work they put in for me, my siblings, and the pressure of being the first to break into the professional world was often overwhelming. Along the way, I developed life skills that no textbook could teach. I learned radical resilience and the ability to stay calm when situations are crashing around me. But more importantly, I learned the power of true patience and thoughtfulness. I realized that behind every problem is a human looking for help, often feeling the same frustration and confusion I felt when I was younger. I made it my mission to not just provide answers, but to be truly helpful, kind, and patient with the person in front of me, treating every interaction as an opportunity to lift someone else up. My career path since leaving icstars has been a steady climb of 3 major steps. First, I secured a role as a cloud security associate, which provided the financial foundation I needed to support my parents the way they supported me. Next, I moved into senior security architect position, where I began designing the very system that keeps our digital world safe. Eventually, I rose to become a chief information officer, using my seat at the table to advocate for more diverse voices in tech. I have so many people to thank for supporting me on this journey. I want to thank the staff at icstars Milwaukee for seeing the diamond in me when I still felt rough. I want to thank my brother and sister for giving me a reason to keep pushing. Most importantly, I want to thank my parents. Gracias por creer en mí y todo lo que sacrificaron. Este momento de ustedes tanto como mío, which translates to thank you for believing in me and for all your sacrifices. This moment is yours just as it is mine. My future plans involve opening a mentorship center, Forge and Foundation, right here in the Midwest, specifically for its first generation students and those from non-traditional backgrounds. I want to show them that the pressure they feel right now is not meant to break them. It is meant to shape them into something unbreakable. At Forging Foundation, we won't just give advice. We will provide a technical blueprint, helping students audit their skills, rewrite their professional narratives, and build a network that acts as their structural support. This will serve as my commitment to the next generation. With this foundation, we will forge the path for those coming up behind me. I will leave you all with a quote from E.B. White that stayed with me since my first days in training. The best writing is rewriting. My life has been a series of drafts and revisions, and I'm so grateful for the masterpiece we are celebrating today. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. Randy, you bring consistency and presence in a way that our whole cohort relies on every day. Thank you. Next up is Carla. Carla brings the fun and the vibes into the space. She has a way of lifting the energy while also genuinely caring for the people around her. She shows up for this cohort in ways that really matter. Carla's up next.
Hello, everyone. Welcome today. Holy smokes. Standing here today, I am deeply honored and truly humbled to accept the Global Impact Leadership Award. To be in a room filled with people who care deeply about impact means everything. And I have to say, seeing Tim here today sharing this moment with me makes it even more special. I am truly grateful you are in this room with me. This recognition is not just a reflection of my work, but of every lesson learned, every challenge faced, and every person who believed in me when the path forward wasn't always clear. I earned this award through years of dedication to building inclusive technology solutions that bridge opportunity gaps in underestimated communities. From developing workforce platforms to mentoring future innovators, my mission has always been rooted in creating access because talent is everywhere, even if opportunity is not. The journey here was not easy. I faced moments of doubt, financial stability, and of navigating spaces. I did backs, projects that failed, doors that did not open, and times I had to rebuild from scratch. But those obstacles became my greatest teachers. They taught me resilience, adaptability, and the courage to keep moving forward, even when success was not always guaranteed. Along the way, I developed life skills that shaped not just my career, but who I am as a person. Critical thinking, emotional intelligence, leadership under pressure, and the ability to turn challenges into opportunity. I learned that success is not about avoiding failure, it is about growing through it. My career path since starting at icstars has been transformative. I began as an intern, learning the foundations of technology and professionalism. From there, I advanced to a junior developer role where I owned my technical skills and contributed to meaningful projects. Later, I stepped into leadership as a project manager, guiding teams and driving innovation. Eventually, I founded my own tech organization, Social Square, focused on social impact, which grew into a global initiative, influencing policy, education, and workforce development. I would not be here without the incredible support system that stood beside me. To the mentors at icstars, Blanca Gonzalez, Nikki Mosby, Mimi Perez, Tuli Bang, Leo Fan, and Alexa Lopez, who saw potential in me before I saw it in myself. Thank you. To my family and friends who reminded me of my strengths during the hardest times, this is as yours as much as it is mine. And to every colleague, partner, and mentee who walked this journey with me, you have shaped this story in ways I can never fully express. Looking ahead, my work is far from done. I plan to expand global access to tech education, invest in the next generation of leaders, and continue building systems that create equality and opportunity. The future I envision is one where innovation is inclusive and success is shared. I will leave you with this. Do not wait for the perfect moment to start. Start where you are with what you have. Growth comes from action, not perfection. As I often remind myself, the distance between who you are and who you want to be is built by what you do every single day. And remember, if the plan does not work, change the plan, not the goal. Thank you, y viva Puerto Rico.
Thank you, Carla. Carla, your energy and the way that you show up every day was so essential to the cohort. It made a real impact on all of us. So thank you so much. Okay, I have tissues here if anyone needs them. I don't think we've not needed them yet, but they're here in case anyone does. Next up, Lorenzo. Lorenzo Cooks brings a quiet honesty and realness to this cohort. What you see is what you get, and that's been really important for all of us. Up next is Lorenzo.
Good evening, everyone. It's truly an honor to stand here today and accept the Innovator for Community Impact Award. If you would have told me 25 years ago, back when I was just a kid from Chicago who moved to Milwaukee at 8, that I'd be standing here today, I probably would have laughed and said, "You got the wrong person." But here we are. My journey wasn't just about having everything handed to me. I didn't grow up with a lot of money, but I also wasn't without love, support, and the drive to figure things out. I learned early how to work with my hands as a carpenter and a handyman. I learned how to build things from the ground up. And later in life, I realized I could do the same thing with data, with ideas, with my future. After icstars, I started my career as a data analyst, just trying to understand the numbers and find my place in the tech world. I worked my way up to a senior data analyst where I wasn't just analyzing data. I was using it to solve real problems and to help people. And eventually, I took a leap into entrepreneurship and became a CEO, building a company focused on using data to create opportunities to bring resources back into communities like mine, the Lindsay Heights area. But let me be real, it wasn't smooth. There was times I doubted myself, times I felt like I didn't belong in rooms I worked hard to get into, times where things didn't go the way I planned, but every setback taught me something. Every challenge sharpened me. And honestly, being a handyman helped me more than I expected. Because whether it's a broken door or a broken system, the mindset is the same. Figure it out, fix it, and make it better than it was before. Along the way, I've built more than a career. I've built resilience, confidence, and the ability to adapt no matter what life threw at me. I wouldn't be here without the people who supported me. I want to thank my mom for always being there and keeping me grounded. I want to honor my father who is no longer here, but whose presence and lessons still guide me every day. To my friends, Antonio and Damaris, thank you for believing in me and pushing me to keep me going. And to all the staff at icstars, thank you for giving me the tools, the mindset, and the opportunity to change my life. Everything I built is because of that foundation. But my story isn't just about me. My mission has always been bigger than myself. I want my impact to be felt in my community. I want to open doors for the youth. I want to show them you don't have to come from a perfect situation to create a powerful future. I want to be an example that you can take your skills, your struggles, your story, and turn it into something meaningful. because if I can go from building with my hands to building with data to building opportunities for others, then what's possible for the next generation? So I'll leave you with this. Speak your dreams out loud, even not sure how it's going to happen yet. Because once you say it, you start building it. Thank you.
Thank you, Lorenzo. That's what tonight is about, speaking our dreams out loud, right? Lorenzo, your authenticity and how you show up as yourself every single day really go for it. So thank you for that. Freddie's up next. Freddie shows focus and determination. Someone who puts in the work and he keeps moving forward. Freddie.
Good evening. I'll be honest. I never imagined standing here, not because I doubted the work, but because I never spent much time imagining. I spent it learning. Tonight, I'm receiving the Excellence in AI Education Award. What I can tell you is that I didn't set out to earn this award. I set out to understand something, and then something else, and then something deeper underneath that. It started at icstars Milwaukee. I walked in curious about technology and left with a question I haven't stopped asking since. How does it actually work? Not the surface of it, the architecture, the decision baked in before the first line of code, the data that shaped what the system believes is true. That question took me from junior developer to systems engineer to AI researcher. And somewhere along the way, I realized the most valuable thing I could do wasn't just answer the question for myself, it was to help others ask it. I spent years building a curriculum, mentoring engineers, and creating spaces where people could go deep on how these systems actually work. Not just how to use them, how they're built, what's inside. I won't pretend the path was straight. There were years where I felt it was still just the beginning, still pulling out threads. That feeling I learned doesn't go away. It just becomes more interesting. None of this started without Manny, and I want to name him directly. Manny introduced me to icstars and walked me through the beginning of the journey I didn't fully understand yet. He believed in the direction before I had words for it. And that kind of early guidance doesn't show up on a resume, but it shapes everything that follows. What I want to say to everyone in this room, especially the ones early in their journey, is this. You don't have to know where you're going. You just have to know what you're curious about. Follow that, be rigorous about it, and let it lead you somewhere you couldn't have predicted. My future plans, more of the same, honestly. There's still so much I don't understand. Thank you.
Freddie, your deep curiosity has been such a gift to our cohort. Thank you. Elijah McDaniels is next. Elijah brings a curiosity and a fierce willingness to grow. He leans into the process and always pushes himself forward. Please welcome Elijah.
Good evening, everyone. It's such an incredible honor to be standing before you today as I receive the Visionary Tech Growth Award. This award was given to those who are dedicated, driven, and consistently pushing boundaries. in the tech industry while accepting this award is truly beyond my wildest dreams. I never would have imagined that I'll be standing on stage accepting an award and telling myself I'm succeeding, feeling this hunger that I have of figuring out what success even means to me. The journey to this stage wasn't easy nor straightforward, not at all. As a child, I struggled. Traditional classes weren't designed for my ADHD brain. Teachers who wanted to help either got too frustrated or just didn't want to try to understand me in the first place. When I was put into IEP in 5th grade, I didn't take it too seriously. And I wish I did. Because some of those teachers were the only ones who actually tried to understand and help me. But my focus wasn't a consistent effort. And I often found myself drifted in spaces or hanging around people to whom I felt I didn't belong with. It was like we hit a crossroads with how we viewed our time. And during these times, I doubted my own potential and future. But instead of letting my struggles define me, I learned to adapt, persevere, and move forward through resilience. I honestly started discovering things that will ultimately alter my path forever. True creativity, painting, photography, just the act of being creative in general became my anchor for everything. My mood, my thoughts, even my mental sanity. It was truly therapeutic. Later, I realized that creativity didn't have to be separate from technology. When I discovered coding, I saw another avenue of expression, another way to build, innovate, and solve real-world struggles. My professional journey into tech began in 2026 with the icstars program. It was an experience that truly changed my life, providing me with fundamental technical skills, with professional experience, and a collaborative environment to where I can truly thrive. Most importantly, it gave me confidence to know that I had a place in the tech industry. After graduating from icstars, I continued studying and attending other internships to where I found and started my career as a junior software developer at Lumen Creative Technologies. I worked on data-driven and accessibility tools, which indeed felt meaningful. I enjoyed using data not just as analyzing information, but to tell stories and uncover patterns that would lead to better decisions overall. After a short while, I moved to systems engineering at North Star Systems Group and worked really hard designing, integrating, and maintaining complex systems, ensuring different technologies work together efficiently and reliably. And that too brought me satisfaction, which in turn, 3 years later in the company, I became a lead technologist. Every role, my creativity was the core of how I approached problem solving. As I progressed my career and found that I could not grow anymore at North Star, I felt increasingly drawn to work that blended technology and nature, something that has always been a source of grounding and inspiration for my journey growing up in high school and continuing to learn about myself through icstars. This led me to work with Summit Environmental Technologies. There, in return, I was allowed to receive the award today. Here, I led development for a predictive wilderness safety platform that utilizes environmental data, satellite imagery, and machine learning to access avalanche risk and local missing hikers. This platform enables emergency responders to dispatch drones with initial supplies, communication devices, and location tracking for individuals in distress before the traditional rescue teams could even reach them. Bringing this project to life and seeing its true impact is one of the most fulfilling achievements of my career in general. Between 2026 and today, 2051, my career has blossomed in ways I never could imagine. Sometimes I really do think I'm just gonna wake up and I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and everything just be a faded memory. I had a privilege of working with creative companies, expanding consulting work to help organizations develop thoughtful, human-centered systems, and eventually establishing my own business to where I'm fully integrating my technical knowledge with my creative vision and purpose. In the wild, my creative passions have never wavered. Painting, mural creation, writing, photography, all continue to be important parts of who I am, not just as hobbies, but as essential components to my imagination and creative problem solving. Also inspiring to mentor and inspire others who may not fit the traditional mold, showing them that a unique perspective is not only welcome, but vital for this field. My dreams I've extended to my life in balance and intuition. My land and homes are in various locations to offer spaces of creation, the ability to recharge and also connect with nature. These systems, these places symbolize freedom, stability, and a place to live my life with full creativity and purpose. And none of this would be possible without the incredible support of the people in my life. I wanted to express my deepest gratitude to my family for holding me down, not for their unwavering belief in me or their love and patience through this highs and lows of my journey. Your engagement has been my bedrock. This award is both yours as it is mine. This award represents more than just professional success. It represents growth, resilience, and creativity. The unwavering belief that it is possible to build a career and a life that is authentically yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Elijah. That was really beautiful speech. I think I can speak for the whole cohort when I say that your growth mindset, Elijah, has been so inspiring for all of us. Up next is Shamim. So Shamim brings resilience, perspective, and courage into our space. Her journey and determination have been powerful to witness. Please welcome Shamim.
Standing here today, 25 years after my journey begins, receiving the National Cyber Defense and Security Leadership Award is an incredible honor. But more than that, it is a proof that dreams, no matter how far or impossible it seems, can become reality if you refuse to give up. Before anything else, I want to start with gratitude. I want to say thank you for my mother, Sarah, who dedicated her life to supporting us, sacrificing her own comfort so we could have a future. Everything I am today is built on her strength. I also want to say thank you to my father, who always stood by us and gave us a sense of security and stability, even in the most uncertain times. I also want to say thank you to the icstars Milwaukee. That is where my real journey began. It was more than a program. It was the place where I started believing in myself. At icstars, I didn't just learn about code. I learned about business, leadership, and the power of resilience mindset. I want to say thank you for my mentors and everyone who stood beside me when I was still finding my path. My passion for cybersecurity did not start in a classroom. It started in my childhood. I grew up in an environment where safety was not guaranteed and uncertainty was part of daily life. Those early experiences shaped me. They gave me a clear purpose: to protect, to secure, to build systems that people can trust. My career path was not traditional. I started with an internship at icstars, and continued building my path through hands-on experience and constant self-directed learning. After receiving my green card, I I made a critical decision that changed my life. I joined the United States military. That step gave me the structure, the discipline, and the advanced training to step directly into the world of national defense. Since graduating from icstars, I have climbed the career ladder through persistence and purpose. I began my career in IT support, where I spent 2 years mastering the fundamentals of technology, troubleshooting systems, supporting users, and learning how every piece of infrastructure connects. The role taught me patience, communication, and the importance of strong technical uh, foundations. From there, I transformed into cybersecurity analyst role for 3 years. I worked in front of lines of defense, mentoring threats in real time, responding to incidents and learning how attackers think. This was this was the stage where I truly understand the weight of cybersecurity, the responsibility of protecting people, organization, and national systems. Today, I serve as the Executive Director of National FBI, a role I have held for the past several years. In this position, I design and implement defense systems that protect critical national infrastructure. My work includes building secure architectures, strengthen network defense, and leading threat uh, mitigation innovatives and sensitive environments. And it is the work and the most recent role that lead to this award. Over the past years, I lead projects that identified and neutralized cyber threat targeting critical defense system. I developed a dedication framework that reduced response time over 14%, and I coordinate with cross-energy teams to implement new security controls that are now used as a national standard. This award is not just about one achievement. It represents years of disciplines, learning, and refusing to give up. This journey was not easy. I faced loneliness, the struggle of starting over a new country, and the daily challenge of navigating a professional world where English is my third language. But through every challenge, I built resilience, discipline, and unbreakable belief in myself. Looking ahead, my mission is bigger than my own success. I want to create opportunities for others, especially immigrants, and those who feel like they are starting from zero. I want to be the proof that your background does not define your future. If you have the courage to speak it, you have the power to create it. So speak your dreams, even if they feel impossible today, because one day they will become your reality. Thank you.
Thank you for speaking your dreams tonight, Shamim. Your strength and perseverance really inspires me, and I know the rest of our cohort as well. Braulio Star is up next. I'm getting ahead of myself. We're almost at the halfway point. Star Richardson brings energy, expression, and confidence. She has a presence that people feel the moment she steps into the room. Please welcome Star.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here today. Standing here today at 70 years old, receiving this prestigious NAACP Community Impact Award, I am filled with overwhelming gratitude, humility, and reflection. This award represents far more than personal achievements. It represents a lifetime of purpose, perseverance, and unwavering commitment to uplift others. 25 years ago, I stood at the beginning of a new chapter. In my life, uncertain of exactly where my journey would lead me, but deeply certain of one thing: I was called to make a difference. I carry with me resilience, shaped by life's challenges, a heart grounded in empathy, a vision that refused to dim despite obstacles. Today, as I look back, I see a journey that was not easy, but it was meaningful, intentional, and transformative. I'm honored to be recognized for the founding of the Proverbs 31 Restoration Project, an expanding organization that provides traditional group homes for single mothers. At Proverbs 31, we seek to provide safe, supportive environments designed to help women rebuild their lives with dignity and strength. Through my organization, we've created more than housing. We built safe healing, growth, and identity. Women walk through doors carrying burdens of hardship, and they walk out with confidence, stability, and a renewed purpose. The name Proverbs 31 was chosen intentionally. It represents the strength, resilience, and dignity of a woman who rises despite adversity, who provides nurture, leads, and rebuilds. I saw that same strength in women I was called to serve. This organization was built to reflect the truth that every woman, no matter her circumstances, carries power, purpose, and the ability to rebuild. The founding of the Proverbs 31 Restoration Project began with nothing more than a vision, faith, and deep conviction that something had to change. It didn't start with abundant resources or connections. I started with a burden in my heart and a willingness to act. There were countless doors I had to knock on seeking funding, pitching my vision to donors, applying for grants, and building partnerships from the ground up. I sat in rooms where I had to prove not only the value of my work, but the worthiness of the women I was fighting for. There were moments when funding fell through, when no seemed to come more than yes, and when I had to stretch every dollar just to make the vision alive. Networking was not always easy, believe it or not. It required vulnerability, persistence, and the courage to keep showing up, even when I felt unseen. But with every conversation, every connection, every small breakthrough, the foundation grew stronger. These homes became more than shelters. They became places where women could discover their worth. Women walked through our doors carrying burdens of hardship. They walked out with confidence, stability, and renewed purpose. Along the way, I developed skills that became the foundation of my impact: leadership rooted in service, emotional intelligence, grounded in empathy, and the ability to adapt and grow in every season. I learned that true leadership is not about standing above others, but about walking alongside them. I learned that listening can be just as powerful as speaking, and that compassion can change the trajectory of someone's life. My career path was not traditional, but it was purposeful. After completing my time at icstars, I stepped into a role as a project manager, where I learned how to lead teams, manage complex activities, and turn vision into execution. That experience sharpened my ability. It helped me build systems, think strategically, and bring ideas to life. From their transformation into nonprofit leadership, using both my professional experience, and personal passion to build programs that served vulnerable communities. Eventually, I became the founder and executive director of the Proverbs 31 Restoration Project, an organization dedicated to supporting single mothers through housing, career development, and long-term stability. What began as a vision grew into a network of homes and programs that now impact hundreds of families across multiple communities. None of this would have been possible without the people who supported me along the way. To my family, thank you for your love, your patience, and your belief when I struggled to believe in myself. To my mentors and leaders at icstars, thank you. Thank you for challenging me, guiding me, and helping me to see my potential. To my colleagues, partners, community members, thank you for standing beside me. And to my husband, there are no words that could ever fully capture what you mean to me or what you've carried alongside me. You didn't just support my dreams, you stood in the fire with me. You witnessed the sleepless nights, the moments of doubt, the tears I cried, the tears I tried to hide, the weight of responsibility I carried. There were sacrifices that you made that no one else saw. Times when you had to be strong for the both of us. When you had to hold our home together while I was out fighting to build something bigger than myself. You endured uncertainty, pressure, and the emotional toll that comes along with loving someone who refuses to give up. Yet through it all, you never wavered. You reminded me who I was when I forgot. You spoke into me when I felt it. You believed in this vision, even when it was just an idea, even when there was no guarantee I would succeed. Your strength became my strength. Your faith became my foundation, and your love was unwavering, steady, and unconditional. This moment is just as much yours as it is mine. And to the women and the families we have served, thank you for trusting me, for allowing me to walk alongside you, for showing me what true strength looks like. As I stand here today, I am proud of what I've accomplished, but I'm even more excited about what is still to come. My work is not finished. My vision continues to grow in the years ahead. I plan to expand the Proverbs 31 Restoration Project nationally, advocating for policies that support single mothers and families and mentor the next generation of leaders who are committed to making a difference in the communities. To anyone who may feel uncertain about their future, I want to leave you with this. Your story has power. Your challenges do not define you. They prepare you, they reshape you. And your dreams are never too big. They're necessary. Speak them, believe them, and most importantly, act on them. Because if I've learned anything on this journey, it's this. When you commit to a purpose greater than yourself, you create a legacy that extends far beyond your own life. Thank you to the NAACP for this incredible honor. Thank you to everyone who has been a part of this journey, and thank you for allowing me to live out my dreams that was once just a vision. I'll leave you with a quote from the beautiful Maya Angelou. Nothing will work unless you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Star. Sorry, I heard you say you show up. You show up, and your voice and your presence allows for other people to also show up. So thank you. Braulio's up next. Braulio Rodriguez brings a calm and steady approach. He observes, he processes, and he contributes in ways that support our whole team. Welcome, Braulio.
Thank you, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to accept this award for community leadership for providing re-entry services for returning justice impacted individuals. Along my journey, I've helped many individuals who are just about to start their journey as I once did myself. In doing this, I've helped many individuals. People who have never been through this might not realize that often when someone is released from prison, they may only have the clothes that they wore when they first were brought to prison. They need help with everything to reestablish a life. This ranges from acquiring health and dental care and insurance to finding the right mental health support. As a case manager for reentry services, I've had to answer calls from my clients to help them find services for transportation so they are able to make it to appointments, interviews, request visits from probation officers. When an individual is first released, they might not have the funds to feed themselves or their family, and it was my job to help them find the food pantry services or fill out their proper paperwork for SNAP benefits so that they could feed themselves. I would help them find many Goodwill locations that donate clothes so that they have clothes for interviews. I've also helped in coaching them with mock interviews, resume rebuilding, so they are comfortable with finding the right job for themselves. Many individuals coming home from the system may be coming home with drug addiction issues, and it was my personal mission to help them find the rehabilitation services to properly detox themselves and then enter the right facility for them. Unfortunately, for many of us, coming home has demons that we are still fighting, and we need to learn how to address these demons within ourselves. I would spend many hours talking about my personal battles that I faced along my journey home and how it was possible to overcome these personal battles. Nothing is easy in life, but you must put in that work to accomplish what you want out of life. Along my journey, I started seeing the issues that were wrong with the justice system and handling individuals who were coming out of the justice system. I noticed that there needed to be a major change in the system that was quick in sending us away for the crimes and saying that they were providing the proper services for rehabilitation. But as I landed in Gilmore, West Virginia, they were mistaken with that statement. There was no proper rehabilitation for individuals getting there. And as for the mental health services, that was a joke. There was only 3 staff psychologists for 1,600 individuals. So I started to ring the bell in addressing these issues that needed to be changed to properly help individuals in the system. I started by going to my local representative and bringing these issues to them and telling them that services in our local prisons were a joke and that big changes needed to be made. I did get some blowback, and it was a challenge that I was ready to accept and fight for. I started by gathering statements from individuals coming home from prison or jails and properly documenting them. I also started by looking at governmental budgets and reentry and rehabilitation services and where the money was going. Once I gathered all my information, I took it back to my local representative and showed him how there needed to be a drastic change in our local facilities. That's when they started listening to me and jumped on board with me. As a recovering heroin addict myself for the past 8 years, I know what it is to face these ugly demons myself. I couldn't do it alone. Unfortunately, I was sentenced to 9 years for armed robbery and sent to federal prison for 8 of those 9 years sentence. Along my journey, I had to face these demons and start to rethink my life and choices that got me there. It was an ugly reality check for me to admit that I was wrong. I would need to start detoxing while I was there, and that was not a pretty sight to see. After surviving 8 years that I worked in 2 separate federal facilities, back in 2025, I started to try to get ready to come home to my family and society. Boy, was I in for a shock. I had a hard time adjusting to being at home and started dealing with rediscovering all these feelings I had to suppress while I was in prison. One of the hardest things I had to do was tell my family that they needed to respect my boundaries because I was not used to hugging or saying I love you. They looked at me like I was crazy and didn't know how to react to that. After about 2 weeks, I finally began to see a therapist who literally saved my life and started helping me process all that I was going through. By coming home to my family and society, I started to make all kinds of appointments to get my health back in order because of the lack of medical attention you get while you're locked up for 8 years. I noticed that I would need to rebuild myself and needed to land a career to properly be able to support myself. So I started by going to these meetings that Partners in Hope were having. This is where I was introduced to a man named Steve, who had suggested icstars because of the past coding experience I had done in my college days. As I started the application process for icstars, I thought to myself, I was over my head and that there was no way I could complete this application. Well, I did it. I got it done, and it took me 4 days to complete it. And it was a start to something great for me. So when I got to icstars, I had already developed survival skills from being in prison with such different people who wanted to harm you. And getting into this internship, I needed to tell myself that they were here to help me gain a career. Once my 14-week internship started, I learned that there would be 11-hour days. At icstars, I focused on business, leadership, and technology skills and help you develop the skills I needed to get to real work life experience. Well, at icstars, I would need to really focus on my adaptability to the tech industry and relearn all the technology I had missed while I was gone. I needed to learn how to properly talk to individuals who were potentially hiring those of us commencing from icstars. This is something I also had a chance to develop while I was in federal prison. And this was my first time in this situation, and I had never done anything like this before. Learning how to navigate all kinds of different kinds of individuals who would help me get through icstars. This also allowed me to adapt to all the tech we're about to introduce to us and the different languages at the same time. I was surprised that one life skill I developed during my time in prison was going to help me be successful at icstars. Discipline. While locked up for so long, I had developed discipline and patience, and I knew I was going to use those skills to complete this internship. My discipline helped me develop a routine to get all the deliverables done. It also showed the staff that I could become a great leader for projects. My communication skills were another thing I needed to develop to help me with my transition back into society. While at icstars, I also got a chance to develop my communications skills and using all the right tech languages to communicate with someone who has been doing this for a while. They would help me get prepared to do presentations for real life client projects. Since commencing from icstars, I was able to get a job at a nonprofit called My Way Out with Ruben Galvin as an executive director. I was hired because of sharing my past experience and also my desire to help individuals with their transition back into society. I became a case manager who would help them learn new trades so that when they were released, they would have the right skills to get a job. We would be using virtual reality headsets to train real life work experience. Over the next 20 years, I committed to building something bigger than myself. I created a nonprofit rooted in real life experience, one that truly supports individuals coming home and helps them rebuild with purpose, structure, opportunity. Through my journey, I showed that your past does not define you. What matters is what you choose to do afterwards. I grew as a businessman in the reentry space using innovation, technology, and real-world support to build systems that work. I expanded programs, influenced policy, and mentored others walking the same path I once did. Because this always was bigger than me, this was about showing that change, growth, and success were possible, and that no one had to do it alone. I want to take this time to thank God, my mom for never giving up on me, and everybody here. Thank you.
Thank you, Braulio. Thank you for sharing your story with us, Braulio. Omar, Omar brings personality and perspective. He shows up as himself. He adds to the dynamic of this cohort. Do you remember when I was saying that this cohort is personality and inside jokes, and half of that is Omar. But Omar really, really shows up. Thank you, and please welcome Omar.
Good afternoon, everyone. If I'm honest, standing here receiving the Nobel Peace Prize feels a little uncomfortable. I have never really done anything for recognition, but I have learned that sometimes God allows moments like this to remind us of what He's done through us and ultimately give Him the glory. And my story has always been about people. 25 years ago, I started at icstars Milwaukee. Shout out to Cycle 20. Just trying to figure out life. Trying to figure out who I was, what I was capable of, and where I belonged. I didn't have a perfect plan, but I had a desire to grow, to learn, to serve. My journey started with IT support, then IT network and cloud, and eventually into information systems and securities. I learned how to fix problems, protect systems, and think outside the box. But over time, I realized something. God didn't just call me to build systems. He called me to build people. That's where the next leg of my journey begins. And that's where I found my purpose. What started as serving young adults in my own city became something I never expected. It started small, nothing too crazy, just a handful of young men and women who were trying to navigate life. I didn't have a program. I didn't have funding. I didn't have a strategic plan in place. What I did have was the willingness to show up. Those conversations turned into weekly gatherings. Weekly gatherings turned into leadership cohorts. Leadership cohorts grew into eventually what became the Hero Maker Initiative. This movement is designed to equip people everywhere with tools, mentorship, community they need to transform their own neighborhoods. We focus on healing, leadership, and service. It started with helping people to confront real wounds and traumas. Then empower them from a place of holding. Incredible happened. Began in Milwaukee, started expanding in Chicago, Houston, Orlando, New York, and then made it to Barcelona. Because people believed in the idea that leaders create leaders and heroes create more heroes. Today, the Hero Maker Initiative has grown into a global network of community leaders, coaches, technologists, teachers, ministers who are transforming cities. We didn't have many resources, but we did know how to build genuine relationships. We have trained thousands of leaders across more than 30 countries, each one carrying a mission to impact their own communities in their unique way. If I learn anything if I earn this award for anything, it's not for funding a program. It's for believing in people before they believed in themselves. And building a movement where the belief becomes contagious. It is for believing in people. Sorry. So what started as a young adults, serving as young adults, became a calling to work with people through real life, through brokenness, and through growth, healing, and purpose. To be present in moments and really show up and change lives forever. And it hasn't been easy. There were seasons where I felt stretched, balancing responsibilities, ministry, and life. Moments where I questioned if I was enough or if I was even making a difference. But in those moments, I found myself reading a Bible verse in Galatians 6:9 that says, "Let us not grow weary of doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we don't give up." That verse didn't just encourage me, it instilled a fire in me. Because the work we do in people is not always seen right away, but it matters. It always matters. Not everyone is willing to get down and dirty with someone. Throughout the years, the experiences I've had with people have shaped me. But behind every man, there's even a stronger woman. In this case, I have two behind me in my corner. First, I want to thank my mom. Thank you for being my foundation, for your prayers, your sacrifices, and your strength. There were moments where I didn't even realize I was being carried, but I was. Because of you and your prayers, everything I am stands on what you poured into me. And secondly, it's my wife. There are not enough words. You have walked me through every season, in the highs, the doubts, the stretching moments. You believed in me when I struggled, even when I struggled to believe in myself. You have been my peace, my support, and my partner in crime. This journey, I never walked alone because of you. And to every person I've had the honor to serve, you've changed me. You have reminded me that leadership is not about being in the front. It's about walking alongside. I have learned to be like an ace in a deck of cards. I am flexible enough to play whatever role the moment needs. Sometimes that means stepping up and taking the lead, being the highest card, quote unquote, when the things call for energy and directions. Other times it means laying low and supporting the team and strengthening the foundation so that others can shine. It taught me a lot about reading situations, staying self-aware, and knowing when to step forward or step back. For me, being an ace is not about being the best. It's about being adaptable, about adding value wherever I'm needed. This award may have my name on it, but it carries all your fingerprints. As Billy Graham once said, the greatest legacy one can pass is not money or material things accumulated in one's life, but rather a legacy of character and faith. That is the legacy I want to live. Looking ahead, I'm not chasing titles, I'm chasing impact. I want to continue raising leaders, pouring into people, and creating spaces where others can discover their purpose. Whether through ministry, mentorship, or technology, my mission remains the same: to serve people. My goal is to create heroes. So if I could leave you with anything, it would be this: do not wait for a platform, an award, or a position to make an impact. Do not wait until you feel ready to serve. And do not underestimate what God can do through you. Because at the end of it all, success will not be measured by what we built, but by who we love, who we lifted, and who we led closer to purpose. I want to encourage you to be a hero maker. Thank you.
Thank you, Omar. Omar, your presence added depth and character to our cohort, and thank you for leaving your fingerprint on Cycle 20. Okay, we're got a couple left. Brandon Taylor Hewlett. Brandon brings intensity and focus. He's always the first to engage, and he engages deeply. He isn't afraid to push himself or others towards growth. And if Omar had half of the inside jokes, Brandon has the other half. Please welcome Brandon.
Thank you, Mimi, for that lovely introduction. Good evening, everyone. Standing here tonight still feels a little unreal. I am deeply honored to accept the Malcolm S. Forbes Lifetime Achievement Award. I didn't grow up thinking awards like this were meant for people like me. I thought they were reserved for folks who had everything figured out early, who spoke the right way, moved through the right rooms, and never had to stop and start again. My story didn't look like that. It still doesn't. And that's exactly why this moment matters. Along the way, I learned that growth doesn't come from comfort. It comes from being willing to look at yourself honestly. I learned how to manage my energy, not just my time. I learned that professionalism doesn't mean shrinking yourself. It means knowing when and how to stand firmly in who you are, even when the room wasn't built for you in mind. An award like this forces you to pause, not to admire yourself, but to reflect on the long trail of people, moments, and hard lessons that made standing here possible. My journey did not follow a straight line. It had detours, pauses, and stretches where the future felt unstable at best. But what I've learned over the years is that progress doesn't require perfection. It requires movement, honesty, and the willingness to keep going even when you don't feel ready. Some of the most important influences in my life showed up early. I want to begin by acknowledging Mary Beth LaHaye of Milwaukee, my fourth grade teacher. At the time, who by the way is in the audience, at the time, I probably didn't have the words for what she was doing. But I noticed the quiet kindness, the wisdom, the way she loved her students like they were her own. She gave my mom money so I could celebrate after accomplishments, or so I could have the appropriate attire for events. Things that may have seemed small to others, but meant the world to me. She made me feel seen, valued, and capable at a time when confidence was still forming. Her impact has lasted a lifetime. Ms. LaHaye, I truly thank you for your commitment to provide children with the opportunity to have a bright future. Thank you for treating me with kindness. Excuse me. As I grew older, there were others who stepped in when they didn't have to. Makisha Linton of Milwaukee, through the Black Achievers Program, went above and beyond to make sure I felt included. When I was in middle school, she looked out for me in ways that mattered, ways that told me I belonged in spaces where I wasn't always sure I did. That sense of belonging stayed with me and shaped how I show up for others. My family has been a constant source of grounding. My grandmother, Karen Swift, my dad's mother, has always been a steady, loving presence. She didn't need big speeches. Her consistency said everything. And my mother, Tamika Hewlett, who may not always hear this or believe it herself, played a major role in shaping the person standing here today. Her sacrifices, resilience, and quiet strength laid the foundation for everything I've built. And I love you for that. Truly, I do. There were moments in adulthood when life became unstable, times marked by uncertainty, legal trouble, and discomfort that forced me to confront myself honestly. Those seasons were humbling and necessary. They pushed me to take responsibility, to slow down, and to really look at the direction I was heading, or at least look at the type of environment I was welcoming. One of the reasons I chose to take a leap of faith was icstars Milwaukee. I want to thank the program for being part of the reason I stepped into something unfamiliar. And I especially want to recognize Blanca Gonzalez, Executive Director. Blanca was patient and strategic with my path forward. but also deeply encouraging during a season when I didn't feel secure. She understood that growth doesn't happen on a fixed timeline, and she never reduced me to my worst moments. She helped me see that learning how to recover from mistakes is just as important as learning new skills. So, Blanca, I thank you. One of my most cherished memories was being in a large room filled with other interns, each bringing their own strategies and solutions to the table. We were a wonderfully diverse group, not always easy to manage, but together we formed an incredible, strong team. Even after 25 years, wow, 25 years, I still stay in touch with those I developed close bonds with, a testament to the lasting power of shared experiences. I'm also grateful to Partners in Hope, Milwaukee, especially to Steve Lee and Franklin Coleman for pushing me to excel and holding me to a higher standard when it mattered most. They didn't let comfort replace accountability, and they reminded me that growth often comes with discomfort. I built my career by moving from the how to the why. In the beginning, I was in the weeds, observing user behavior and learning the technical mechanics of the trade. Eventually, I was the one building the frameworks and making the final calls on product direction. The path after icstars was a series of steep learning curves. It looked seamless from the outside, but it actually required grinding through roles that pushed me past my comfort zone, forcing me to learn on the fly and own the moments where I needed helping hand. Sometimes I stayed with organizations long enough to grow teams and improve systems. Other times I moved on because I knew growth required a new environment. As I moved into leadership roles, I had to learn how to balance confidence with humility, how to make decisions that affected other people's lives, and how to keep learning even while leading. From 2026 through 2051, the lessons continued. I learned that leadership is less about control and more about responsibility. I learned that failure, when faced honestly, can be one of the most effective teachers. And I learned that long-term growth requires patience, accountability, and a willingness to keep evolving. Over time, I grew into roles such as CXO, COO, and CEO, titles that carry responsibility far beyond status. What mattered most was not how fast I climbed, but how intentionally I grew. What matters most to me is not the titles, it's the impact. My journey allowed me to work with and influence children, helping them build confidence, embrace their individuality, and believe that who they are is not a limitation. I didn't want to inspire young people. I wanted to create real opportunities. Over the years, I helped develop internship and apprenticeship programs within the companies I worked for, designed to give young people paid experience, mentorship, and exposure to careers they might not have otherwise considered. That work eventually expanded into broader efforts, including scholarships and partnerships with schools and community organizations, all focused on opening doors and making opportunities real. I am so proud of all of the work the Jayla and Jaquel Foundation is doing for our communities. If you asked me back in December of 2020, when I made the first attempt at successfully bringing the foundation to life, whether I thought it would make the impact it has made to date, I would have given you a multi-layered answer. That answer would have entailed my desire and fire to utilize my skills, passion, and creativity to effectively provide lasting impact to every kid on this planet. with the effective implementation of AI and other technologies. However, there was also a bit of doubt, fear, anxiety, and uncertainty that likely prevented earlier development. The Jayla and Jekyll Foundation has raised over $210 million since its successful relaunch in 2039. Just last year alone, the foundation raised over $15 million with the help of our Boundaries Before Bots initiative. Our youth is our legacy. That's why the Jekyll and Jayla Foundation is committed to protect and empower children by establishing healthy boundaries with AI while advancing secure, ethical technologies that place their well-being first. I've seen firsthand how powerful it is when people are encouraged instead of corrected into silence. That work has become one of the most meaningful parts of my life. Along the way, I was supported by friends and mentors who met me where I was. Debbie Fig, a dear friend I met years ago at Penzi Spices, came into my life during a difficult chapter. Though technically retired at the time, she was anything but idle. She listened without judgment and offered kindness when I needed it most, especially during my time in Milwaukee caring for my godfather before he passed. She even drove me home from work nearly every day. Her presence mattered more than she ever realized. David Larson, a mentor who consistently offered different perspectives, helped me widen my thinking. And Bhakti, a dear friend from my time in San Diego, someone who was mentored by an Indian guru until she became one herself, helped me find balance when my life felt unsteady. When I didn't know where I was headed, she helped me slow down, reflect, and recalibrate. None of this success happened alone. It never does. I also want to express my gratitude for my personal relationship with God, whose presence and guidance have carried me through countless life-altering changes. Looking ahead, my future plans are rooted in service and sustainability. I want to continue building environments, especially for young people, where confidence is nurtured, individuality is protected, opportunity is real. I want to leave systems better than I found them, and people more empowered than when we met. I want to build mentorship frameworks that prioritize wellness and individuality as much as professional skill building. By scaling these systems, I aim to ensure that opportunity isn't just a buzzword, but a measurable result, seen in higher placement rates, sustainable work-life habits, and more equitable access to tech economy. My goal is to architect platforms where young creators have the technical tools and psychological safety to innovate without fear. I plan to modernize community-facing systems, specifically those bridging the gap between talent and tech, ensuring that every user leaves the interface with more agency than they had when they logged in. If there's one thing my life has taught me, it's this. The people who quietly invest in you can change everything. And the courage to keep going, even when you're unsure, can take you further than certainty ever will. Thank you to everyone who believed in me, challenged me, and walked with me along the way. This award belongs to all of us. Thank you.
Wow. Brandon. The word that comes to me when I think of you, Brandon, is drive. And you've really challenged our entire cohort, including myself, to really level up every single day. So thank you for that. Andy Tao. Andy, y'all, brings a quiet strength and a steady presence. He leads in ways that really doesn't need to be out loud, but it certainly is felt. every single day. Please welcome Andy.
Thank you, Mimi, for a nice introduction. But who can beat Brandon's speech? But I just want to say thank you for the Elite Achievement Award. What I like to call it is the I'm Him Award. So starting back in 2025, I was job hopping from working at Amazon to door dashing to being a technician and then becoming jobless in December. During that time, I felt like I had one of my lowest points in life. However, everything began to change when I found icstars. As I moved into 2026, I made the decision and dedicate the first 4 months of the year to this program. I put in my time and effort because I want to change my life and become better than who I was back then. Because back then, my life was heavily focused on partying, having fun, and making the wrong decisions. Until I reached a breaking point that focused me to reflect and grow. Because of this experience, I want to thank icstars for helping me refocus my life and for allowing me to be part of a cohort that came from all walks of life. Being surrounded by people with different backgrounds gave me new perspective and helped me realize that growth looks different for everyone. But along the way, I also had to deal with doubt. There always been people who supported me, but there were also people who doubted me. Instead of letting that discourage me, I used their doubt as motivation. I kept them close as a reminder to prove myself more than anyone that I could become the person they didn't realize I could be. As I continued to grow, I realized that not everyone is not everyone is meant to grow with me. Because of that, I choose to move forward and surround myself with people who truly support and respect my journey. At the same time, money has been another obstacle in my early life. I understand that money is not everything and does not buy happiness, but what it does, it provides stability. It pays for bills, food, and the basic things needed to live. Growing up, I struggled financially and often had to focus on making ends meet. That experience taught me responsibility and pushed me to work harder so I could build a more stable life. But in addition to financial struggles, I also faced the challenge of always being needed. This is this has not always been a bad thing, but over time it becomes overwhelming. As the oldest son in my culture, I am expected to show up to every family function and be there whenever relatives or friends needed help. That responsibility never really goes away, and it can be difficult when everyone depends on you. There were times when I was so focused on helping others that I didn't have space to take care of myself. I also learned that saying no is not always accepted, especially by elders, which made it even harder. Through this experience, I learned the importance of setting boundaries while still respecting my family. Because of everything I have gone through, one of the most important skills I have developed is learning how to be direct while sorry while still being respectful. Growing up, I was often told that I was too blunt, like in my cycle. um, and even when I did not mean to, my words could come off as hurtful. Over time, I learned that it is not just about what you say, but how you say it. Being honest is important, but is as important to deliver that honesty in a way that others can receive. Learning to communicate clearly, effectively, and with empathy is something I continue to work on. After graduating icstars in 2026, I began my career as an IT support specialist. In that role, I learned how to sorry, I learned how to effectively communicate between teams and customers, which helped me grow and develop a strong passion for my work. As I gained more experience, I advanced into a system administrator role where I took on more technical responsibilities. I worked behind the scenes to maintain and improve systems that supported the organizations. Over time, I continued to grow into a leadership position and eventually became the Chief Information and Technology Officer in that role. I was responsible for leading the organization, technology strategy, supporting teams, and making sure everything ran smoothly from both the technical and business perspective. Now looking back, I know none of this would have been possible without the people who supported me. Uh, I want to thank my family and friends for being there throughout this journey. But sorry, but there's this only one person I want to thank specifically. I want to thank my partner. Oh.
It's okay.
Oh yeah. Oh, but I want to thank my partner, my dear Lord, was holding it down and being the rock that I needed. Since joining icstars, she's been my therapist, my mom, and the best person to talk to every day. Um, she has always made sure that I was okay and reminded to eat and stay hydrated because coming after work, man, it's a stroke too. She listened to all the stories from the cohort, now where I'm at, and now it gave me advice so I wouldn't not overthink my problems. Not only that, but she celebrated my wins and helped calm me down after my losses when I felt like giving up or getting frustrated. She reminded me why I started and pushed to keep going, even on even on days when I was stressed, tired, or not in the mood. She made sure I around it as her support, patience. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, thank you for the other one. Even on days when I was stressed, tired, or not in the mood, she made sure I stayed focused and grounded because of her constant support, patience, and encouragement. I truly believe I would not have made it this far without her. Through her, I learned that success is just not about the work you put in, but also about the people who stands by you during both your wins and your losses. Okay, now done with the emotional part. All right. Love you, babe. As I look towards the future, my plan is to continue to grow as a leader by guiding my team and helping each member reach their full potential. I want to build a team that is not only skilled, but also confident, motivated, capable of achieving great things together. Once I've accomplished that and ensured my team is thriving, I plan to retire and enjoy a more relaxed life by the lake. Because of me, I want to spend all my days fishing whenever I want and spend quality times with my partner. Continue one of my favorite hobbies that I always tell my cohort, collecting Pokemon cards. Because that's who I am. uh, wait. Yeah. To me, that represents a balance between leaving a legacy and enjoying the simple things in life. But to sum everything up, never give up. Always stay curious, keep learning, and continue being a student of life. Every day is an opportunity to grow, to transform yourself, and to write a new chapter in your story. Challenges and setbacks are part of the journey, but they do not define you. Instead, they shape you into someone stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Remember to celebrate your progress, no matter how small, and keep pushing forward with purpose and determination. So, finally, almost there. I want to leave you with one of my favorite quotes from Thanos. Yeah. Um, from Thanos. You cannot live with your own failure. Where did that bring you? Back to me. To me, this is a reminder that failure is not the end. It is part of the process that brings you to where you are meant to be. Keep going, stay focused, and trust the journey. Thank you.
For the record, there was still more left.
Oh,
We got two boxes. Two boxes for you, Aaron.
sorry, my bad. I'm a cry.
That was beautiful, Andy. Andy, you lead in such amazing ways. This cohort really wouldn't be Cycle 20 without you. So thank you, Andy.
Thank you.
Jai and Aaron are left. So we've got, you each have your own box, tissue box here. Jai brings focus and intention. Jai shows up ready to learn, has really done that since day one. And Jai contributes in ways that move things forward in our cohort. Please welcome Jai.
Thank you so much, Mimi. Oh man, receiving the Creator Award tonight, it makes me pause. Not because I didn't believe it could happen, but because I remember all the versions of me who wasn't so sure. The version of me that was figuring things out in real time, the one questioning if I was doing enough, or even going in the right direction. The one who felt the pressure to not just succeed, but to carry others along the way too. Because to be honest, I did not get here by doing anything flashy. I got here by creating opportunities, sometimes out of nothing, by seeing gaps and choosing to step into them instead of waiting for someone else to. Building pathways for others who were just trying to figure it out, just like I once was. People who didn't need perfection, they just needed direction, guidance, mentorship, and even just someone to say, hey, you're not crazy. You can do this too. And if I've done that well, then this award isn't just mine. It belongs to every single person who took that step, who trusted the process before they even had proof, who kept going even when things didn't make sense yet, and to those who chose growth even when it felt uncomfortable. Because the truth is, my journey has not been a straight line, not even close, y'all. There were moments where my self-doubt was loud, and imposter syndrome, oh yeah, that showed up many times, more times than I like to admit. And there were gaps, times when things felt uncertain, where I questioned if all of the long hours, the effort, the sacrifices were actually worth it. And then there were people who didn't align, who couldn't see the vision. And at one point, that used to bother me a lot. Now I understand it wasn't their job to see it. It was mine to stay committed to it. And along the way, I learned that success isn't just always about what you accomplish. It's about how you learn to carry yourself through the process. And I learned how to manage myself before anything else. How to stay grounded when things felt uncertain. And I learned that discipline isn't about being hard on yourself. It's about being consistent in a way that works for you. I learned that self-care isn't something you earn after burnout. It's something you protect before you get there. It's something you must carry along the way. And one of the biggest things I learned was how to communicate with intention. Not just to speak, but to connect, to create impact, to share messages that resonate across different faces and people, to walk into any room, any space, and leave them feeling seen, understood, and maybe just a little bit more inspired than when they first walked in. My career started back in 2026 at icstars, and that experience changed everything for me. I stepped into the tech space as a project manager, then transitioned into software development, growing from entry level to junior and worked my way up to senior. Eventually, I found my way into software architecture, where being a visionary finally aligned with my ability to design, and I could bring what I had been envisioning to life. But what truly shaped my journey and ultimately led to this award was what I chose to build beyond the world itself. I poured my energy into creating spaces, systems, and opportunities that helped others rise. Through it all, my focus stayed the same: to create impact. That's just far beyond me. And to leave every place and every person a little bit more empowered than before. And every stage taught me something different, but more importantly, every stage shaped how I think, how I lead, and how I show up. And none of this was done alone. I wanted to take a moment to thank the people who have been a part of this journey. Maliha, Bajan, Samantha Yang Hernandez. Thank you for your support, your presence, and for believing in me, even in moments when I was there figuring things out, and for grounding me when I needed it the most. Ooh. To my cohort and the IC staff member, oh my goodness. Thank you for the conversation, the growth, the laugh, and the reminders that I never had to do this alone. To everyone else who's been a part of my journey, even in small ways, your impact is a part of the story too. To everyone, I am so sorry. As for where life is now, I am truly grateful. I get to live a life I once only imagined. Waking up in my place, overlooking a beautiful scenic garden. Continuing to create meaningful work, giving keynote speeches centered on leadership, resilience, and transformation. Challenging people to think differently and move with intention. Uplifting them to move through fear on their journey. Stop falling into wounds that once thought wasn't meant for them. And having the freedom to explore the world and make memories that matter. Yeah, that lifestyle is beautiful. But what means the most is the impact. It always has been. I'm going to keep showing up, keep doing the work, keep giving back and opening doors where I can. Because success was never meant to be something I keep, but something I pass on. Something I help grow beyond myself. Through everything, one truth keeps rising to the surface. The life you build isn't just about where you end up. It's about how many doors you open for others along the way. It's a blueprint for someone else who's watching, wondering if they can do it too. And sometimes your journey becomes the answer. Thank you.
That was beautiful. Jai, you spoke about discipline. That was I prepared a script, and discipline came up for you, and fierce effort, and that's really what you embody here. Thank you so much for that. Aaron closes us out tonight. Aaron Yang, I think it's actually perfect that Aaron is closing us out. He's someone that's super in our cohort, really thoughtful, and just another grounded presence that really rounds out our cycle 20. Please welcome Aaron.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. All glory to God. God is good.
All the time.
All the time.
God is good.
It's an honor to receive the Hidden Gem Award. I did not foresee myself accepting any awards in my career. I wasn't the loudest in the room, but I firmly believe that action speaks louder than words. I've always helped others without expecting anything in return. With perseverance, I learned to leverage my resources to push myself towards success through and through. Like the moon, I was never meant to compete with the spotlight. I was meant to shine in my own time. Growing up, my emotional intelligence and communication skills were at an all-time low compared to others. And being bilingual did not help. Because of this, I did not graduate ESL until my freshman year of high school. There's a point in my life when I barely communicated with others unless it was mandatory. I felt like a shell of a person. I expressed myself through quotes, analogies, metaphors, and singing. With the help of many people, programs, companies, and technology, I have seen growth in my emotional intelligence and communication skills. This growth shaped me into who I am today. Even though my IQ may outshine my EQ, emotional intelligence still plays a major role in my career and my everyday life. For a long time, I was my own biggest obstacle throughout life. I often feel like I never gave 110%. I played the devil's advocate against myself because of my culture and my upbringing. I struggle with self-love. I question whether I would ever be enough for others and for myself. I went through an identity crisis and found healing through friends, family, and sports, watching movies, reading, and traveling. There were many obstacles before I found my identity. By finding peace within myself and stepping out of my shell, I discovered many strengths like adaptability, loyalty, humility, kindness, being family oriented, thoughtful, intentional, concise, self-aware, straightforward, and many more. Most importantly, I became free-spirited. I also realized that hidden gems aren't overlooked because they're ordinary. It's overlooked because its value hasn't been realized yet. Even with all these traits, I know I'm still learning, still building, and still hungry. To do that, I had to discover the best version of myself. After graduating icstars in 2026, I began my journey through internships, IT help desk roles, building a strong foundation in technology while making real impact on both people that I supported and those who supported me. Through collaboration, curiosity, and hands-on experience, I grew not just in skill, but in direction, intentionally shaping my path towards AI engineering. Often working behind the scenes, I became a hidden gem, someone who quietly solved problems, improved systems, and created value before it was fully recognized. Today, I carry that same mindset forward in my role as a senior engineer. Continue to build, innovate, and uplift others while stepping more confidently into the impact I've always been capable of. Along my journey without God, I would not be who I am today. I also want to give thanks to the pillars in my life. First and foremost, my family. Too many to name. My right and left arm, Brian Lee and Martin Georga, aka Q. My Hamilton squad, Doa Ving, Kevin Yang, and Ginu Ving. I want to give a special thanks to icstars Cycle 20, and a special thanks to icstars Milwaukee staff team. And my one and only grandmother, Tong Lee, rest in paradise. Lastly, my English teacher, someone like a godmother to me, Nancy M. Borges, and her husband, rest in paradise also, John M. Borges. I want to give a special thank you to Nancy for supporting me today. After my career, I want to travel the world while still impacting others. When I retire, I see myself surrounded by nature. That view would be by the oceans or the mountains. Waking up to the scenic view and the smell of a home-cooked meal. If you hear from me, I will be traveling the world and still impacting lives in a way, shape, or form. This includes technology, tutoring, mentorship, networking events, and more. I'm a firm believer in giving back to others, like sowing seeds and watering others so we can rebuild a community that helps one another. I didn't just want to help. I showed up, poured into others, and made sure no one around me stood alone. I became the bridge I once needed, and I'm just getting started. I mentored consistently, not occasionally. I reached back and pulled others forward while still pushing myself to grow. Spaced, heard, and challenged. I share knowledge freely with no gatekeeping and no ego because I understand that impact multiplies when it's passed on. I showed up in rooms where I wasn't expected, and I made sure I didn't come alone the next time. I invested in people through conversations, opportunities, and accountability. I spoke life into others when they doubted themselves, just like someone once did for me. I led with faith, integrity, and action, not perfectly, but intentionally, day by day, decision by decision. Over time, I realized it wasn't the number of people I touched, but the number who continued the work beyond me. That's how it came to life. Especially for those who share experiences similar to mine, those going through emotional disorders. Those voices are often unheard and silently yearning. I uplift others in a way I can with everything within me. That has always been my mission and how I find peace within myself through helping others. While becoming who I'm meant to be, I'll help others rise with me. Remember, the beginning doesn't define us, the ending will. I know. You're probably tired of my quotes and my analogies by now. But before we get going, just one more. Until you spread your wings, you'll never know how far you can fly. By the one and only Napoleon Bonaparte. Thank you for your time.
Aaron, for closing us out. Aaron, you're just like a true lifelong learner, and it's been a gift to have you in the cohort. Thank you. Y'all, can we give another round of applause to Cycle 20? Cycle 20, that was truly amazing. Andy said something that's still sitting with me. This word back here, transformation, he said that it looks different for everyone. And that cannot be the most true statement for me today, because that transformation is in the spotlight today. So what stands out about you all is how much you've built together, not just the skills, but the trust, the relationships. Y'all created a space where people can truly be themselves. Tonight wasn't just about the future. It was a reflection of who they are tonight, right now. And that really matters. Cycle 20 interns have grown across business, leadership, technology, but more importantly, they've grown in how they show up, how they support one another, and how they see themselves. You all have done it as a community and in community with one another. And as we move closer to commencement, I really hope that you all hold on to this moment today, tonight, because this is going to be one of the times where you can really see this word on full display. I'm proud of each of you. To everyone here, thank you all for showing up and for bearing witness to the transformation. Have a great night, y'all. Thank you. Thanks, y'all.